Have you ever seen a squirrel try to cross the street and noticed how they react? They're stuck in indecision, and a lot of times it doesn't end well for the poor squirrel. There's a price to pay for indecision, and that indecision will rob you blind of opportunities. So stick around today, and I'm going to show you how to get out of analysis paralysis and back on track, back to living life at your highest potential.
The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to Rat Race Reboot. I'm your host, Laura Noel. And as a certified coach and former 27-year military leader, each week I provide bite-sized mindset pivots that will help you reset your mind, reawaken your spirit, and regain your control.
Hi, everybody. I am so excited for today's episode. I am so passionate about this topic, and it's about decision. So we've all heard the phrase, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So, we think in the same way and we'll create the same results over and over again. The same level of thinking, same level of decisions, same results. That's how it works. But we have to be willing to do something in a different way. And I'm not talking about the physical, mechanical part of doing. We have to be willing to think in a different way and make decisions in a different way. And I want to share a story with you and share with you how my decision making and the fear that I faced when making that decision created phenomenal results, and what could have happened had I looked at my current circumstances, my financial picture, and made decisions based on that, which is what we're taught to do. So, long story short, I was at a personal development seminar in California, and we were playing this game called the World Game. And on the screen, there were vivid pictures of different atrocities and problems that people face throughout the world in different countries. And so they would share this big video and these photos, and then there was just this dramatic music playing in the background and a narrator telling the story of how many people suffer from abuse or abuse against women or lack of water or lack of clean air. And it would talk about the population, and that would have all of us in the room stand in different sections of the room that would represent that country. So you might have a teeny little country, and then 90% of the room was standing on this little dot. There were so many atrocities and things and areas where we can make a difference in the world, but two of them that really felt like a punch in the gut was just having the understanding and the realization of how many people don't have clean water. They don't have access to clean air. And I felt like somebody punched me in the stomach, and I swore at that moment that I was going to do something about it. And I wanted to partner with some kind of nonprofit organization. I didn't know what that looked like. And I didn't have a lot of trust out there. How would I know when I found the organization, or do I do it myself, right? And so 2 months later, I made that decision. I was going to do that and make a difference. And I met the founder of an organization called the Unstoppable Foundation, a phenomenal woman by the name of Cynthia Kersey. And she had a mission where she was providing clean water, education to girls, medical assistance, job training, and nutrition to people and communities in the Masai Mara region of Kenya. And I was just so moved by her mission. Immediately, I signed on and I started tithing and giving a portion of my pay to that organization, knowing exactly where it was going and the difference that I was making. So my desire at that time, I knew how much I was bringing in income, and I wanted to at least systematically give 10% of my profits or my gross income to an organization that really meant a lot to me and was making a difference. And so I was doing that, and about 18 months went by, and I looked at my income, and I'm like, why is my income not multiplying? I was already in six figures, I think maybe a few six figures at that time. And it did multiply, but not at the rate that I had wanted it to. And one of my goals was to 10 times my income and 10 times my contribution to this organization. And I had to laugh at myself. I'm like, I'm not receiving 10 times the salary or the income, but Laura Noel, you know better than this. Have you even doubled your contribution to the charity? No. Have you tripled it? No. I've been giving 10% of the 6 figures I was earning for about 18 months. That's what I was doing. And I never shifted it because I was looking at the income that was coming in, and then I was making the decision to give that contribution. Now, I know how universal laws work. And I thought, I'm not going to grow when my goal is to 10 times my contribution. If I'm not willing to move, it's kind of like sitting in front of a fireplace and saying, give me the heat and I'll throw on the wood. It doesn't work like that. So I was shaking, palms a sweating, and I got online and I donated like another $1,000. And I didn't have the income to support that giving. I didn't. Well, the next day, somebody found me through my funnel and my email sequence and all that stuff that I had set up. And the next day, she just was like, I want to work with you. And she enrolled as a client, and that supported my giving. So the next month rolls around, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to triple my contribution this time. And then I actually was in my head, this paradigm coming up of, are you doing this for the right reason? Why would you do this? Are you doing this to get? And then I thought, gosh, Laura, I am passionate about this cause. I want to 10 times my contribution. What does it matter? I'm giving from my heart for the right reasons. So I tripled my contribution. And the next day, I randomly called somebody who had mentioned that they wanted to work with me. And I called her and she said, I'm in the car with 3 other people. Can we have this conversation here? Now, I don't know what got into me, because when I'm talking to somebody about potentially coaching with me, I insist that they're in a quiet place, that they can think, that we can speak freely. I don't want them to feel pressured. I do want to push them out of their comfort zone. But for some reason, I said, why not? We'll all have this conversation. So 4 people in a car, in 30 minutes, I'm talking to them, and guess what? All 4 of them came on board as clients. All 4 of them put down a deposit, and we were on. So that supported my giving. So that month, I'm like, I'm going to give another $1,000. I did it. And the next day, this was also part of my dream and my goal, was to travel to Africa to be a part of their mission, to really have boots on the ground and see the work that they were doing and experience the beautiful people there. I got a phone call, and it was Rochelle Fender from the Unstoppable Foundation. And she said, Laura, do you realize that you funded a village? And I'm like, wait, what? Are you kidding me? And she's like, you're so close. Like, at this rate, in a month or so, you're going to fund a village, and we're going to invite you to Africa. And I'm like, oh my God, this is on my goal card. So in episode 1, I talked about goals and how you want to have your goal written down on a card. I pulled out my goal card and I said, this is on my goal card, but it's crazy. It's for this year, though, that this happens. And she said, well, actually, there's a couple who might not be able to go. We're going in a couple of months, so it's a quick turnaround. You'd have to do a lot of things and jump through hoops. But I think if they don't go, you and your husband can join us. Well, they couldn't go, and we jumped through hoops, and we got our immunizations, and we didn't pay deposits like a lot of people. They had the year to plan. We just did it. And it was the most incredible experience ever. And I never would have done it had I made decisions based on the level of income that I was bringing in at the time. And I never would have thought for a second that I would have the opportunity to travel there, especially that year. I didn't know I was so close. Evidence was showing me that I was not. And I certainly wouldn't have entertained the idea of going that year and making that decision. I'll figure out the money. I'll figure out the things. I want this, and I'm doing it. See, what we learn to do in school is we're not taught how to make decisions. We make decisions even when we're growing up as little kids. Mom, I want this. Oh yeah? Well, how are you going to do it? How are you going to get it? We're taught we have to know how we're going to do something before we commit to doing it. But what I'm telling you, if you want to create different results, you have to flip that on its head. You have to be willing to make a committed decision that you're going to do something, you're going to go for it, and this is the star you're going after no matter what. You have to ignore the circumstances that are right in front of your face and stop regarding that as your reality and actually tap into the ideas and the thoughts and the desires you have and have more faith in that's your reality. That's when things are going to shift for you. It was an incredible situation, and the impact that you can have in your life and the people around you, it will be phenomenal when you get this down pat. And I know that it's not easy. So I want you to stick around with me throughout our journey together, throughout all of these episodes. I'll take you step by step through the process of what I've done. Now, I want you, if you're just joining us for the first time, and this is your first episode, I want you to go to ratracereboot.com, and you'll see a download there, 6 mindset-changing techniques to lead a more fulfilled life. I want you to start there, download it. You'll get a few emails. Excuse me. Oh, I need some water. You'll get a few. This is all live, people. You'll get a few emails, and it'll help you really dig in to what are your desires. What do you truly want, not only in your career, but in your life? Excuse me. Okay, that's much better. But that's how you get started, is you figure out what you want. You choose something that is seemingly impossible to you given the current circumstances you find yourself in, but then you get emotionally involved in it, and then that's the star you're shooting for. So I also want you to take a look. If the mission that I'm talking about resonates with you, in the show notes, there's going to be a link there as well for the Unstoppable Foundation. So myself and my Stretch into Success community, we're committed to this vision, and we're committed to helping the Unstoppable Foundation with their mission. So you can join us. We have, it's $25,000 to support a village through those 5 pillars of nutrition, education for girls, because girls in that region just don't go to school. Their job training so that they can be self-sustaining, medical care, and they're teaching them agriculture. So there's 5 pillars that they're actually taking these communities through, and then within a few years, they're self-sustaining. So join us. You'll see that we've made some progress on a village, and you'll be caught up and you'll stay up to date and you'll be on this journey with us. So I'm super excited for that. So what did we talk about today? This is short and sweet. It's all about the power of decision and getting into the habit of making decisions like the person you want to become, as opposed to making decisions based on what you think you have or based on what you think you don't have. We talked about when you don't make a decision, remember the squirrel? Somebody else is going to make that decision for you. Indecision is a decision in and of itself. It's called procrastination. And when you're stuck in indecision, when you're stuck in analysis paralysis, you're wasting so much time. But in the case of the squirrel, it can be death, but it could be the death of your dream. And that is just as bad. Life is too short. Life is so short. We only have a limited amount of time as a spirit being living in this body. What do you want to do with that time? Do you want to be stuck in fear, or do you want to take bold action steps? Because here's the thing. If you make a decision and it doesn't pan out, you can very quickly get back what you think you've lost. Nothing you have in this life is actually owned by you. Nothing. We can't take it with us when we go. You are the caretaker of the things that you have in your life and nothing more. So what do you want to do with that? What impact do you want to have? And what legacy do you want to live? And the impact of those things will all be determined on your ability to make quick, decisive decisions that are in harmony with your big wants and goals. So I want to help you get aligned with your vision. So we're going to do a short little exercise that we do after every episode. And I want you to do this every day. Get in harmony with what you want. We're going to do a guided visualization. It's just a couple minutes long. And you're going to get in harmony with what you want. And then you're going to probably get downloads of ideas and inspirations that come to your mind's eye. And then I want you to take an action step towards those things. So we'll line up our meditation. So right now, just sit with your feet firmly planted on the floor. And take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale slowly and completely. Take another deep inhale and exhale any tension that you might be holding on to. Take one more deep inhale through your nose. Hold it and exhale. And I want you to bring to your focus something that you truly desire. Think about a goal, something that you want to achieve. Maybe it's a relationship that you'd like to have, a place that you want to go, or an impact in the world that you'd like to have. Maybe it's a lifestyle. Bring that to your mind's eye. And think about a decision that you could make, and imagine that you couldn't fail. You have all of the resources you need to manifest this vision and goal. Think about a decision that you know if you made that decision, it would change everything. You can't fail. How is this decision impacting the people around you? What kind of impact is it having on your life? Your level of confidence? Who do you get to become when you make this decision and everything works out in your favor? How does it feel in this moment being you? Hold that vision on the screen of your mind using one of your mental faculties, your will. Now quietly to yourself, ask for guidance for the day. What action step can you take today that's in alignment with that vision and decision? Ask for a sign that you're stepping in the right direction. And then take a couple of moments to write down any inspiration that comes to your mind. All of the steps might not make sense right now to you. But again, I've said this before, you can't connect the dots moving forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. Take the action. And welcome back. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. Next week, we're going to be diving in a little bit about fear. I hit on that today. What actually is happening in your mind when you're about to make a decision like the person you want to become, but you're not that person yet? There's something that's actually happening in your mind, and we call it the terror barrier. And how do you overcome that? It's a mind game, and you have to learn how to play it. If you got value out of today's session, I want you to go to www.ratracereboot.com. And I want you to leave a comment, leave a review. Your comments matter. I do read them. And I want this message to get out to more people. I want to help as many people as I can. And your comments, your downloads, your shares, your reviews, it impacts the algorithms of these podcasts. So any podcast you're listening to that you care about and you enjoy, do that for them because it matters and you get more impact in the world in that way. So join us next week. And remember, everything is created twice, always. First in your imagination and then in physical form. See you next week.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.